Hey guys, we are going to take a look here at PixilArt, the PixilArt editor. So what I have here, I have pre-drawn a few simple assets. I have a background layer, which basically consists of the sky. Here, let's isolate that real quick. The house and the general grass color, the sidewalk. Okay. I added another layer with just some grass, so some grass texture over the background. I have a layer for the smoke that will come out of the chimney. I have a couple layers of clouds, so I put those on their own layers so I could kind of move or manipulate those independently. So that's how I'm going to use layers for this particular animation. So let's see, what are we going to do here? So we have everything laid out. So remember, the first thing we are going to do is copy frame. Remember, copy frame is going to duplicate everything. Okay, so it's going to give us an identical copy of a frame. However, so now I can make changes to this individual frame and the layers within that frame, and none of those changes will affect the previous frame. Okay, so just for example, I could take my move tool here. I could go up to cloud 1, which I think is this one here, and I'm just going to move it a little bit. Move it to the left. I'm going to take cloud 2. I'm going to move that a little bit to the left. Maybe I take my smoke layer here, and let's say I want it to appear that more of the chimney smoke is coming out of the chimney. So I could either maybe draw some more pixels here showing that the smoke is going upwards. I could come in and remove some of the pixels I had drawn previously to make it appear that the smoke is continuing out of the chimney. Okay, let's see. Let's say I do some. What could I do with this grass? Maybe I make it look like these longer particles, whatever these are, these weeds. Maybe they're blowing a little bit in the wind too. So I could come down here. So now I'm on my grass layer. I'm gonna use my color picker first to get that green color once again. And I'm just gonna pencil in a little bit here, maybe to indicate that the grass is moving. And I could change this on each layer. Maybe it's swaying back and forth. I don't know. We'll see what happens. A lot of this, I'm just kind of trying things and seeing how it looks. I can always use Control-Z to undo and take a step back. So I've made changes now to the cloud 2, cloud 1, smoke, and the grass. For now, I'm going to leave background alone. Remember, the background contains all of those other things. So the house, the grass, the sky. Alright, I'm going to copy this frame again. I'm going to go through the motions here of moving things. I'll just start at the top again. Cloud 2 is this one. We're going to move that down a little more. Cloud 1 is moving down a little more. Our smoke, let's pencil some of that in. Close these adds. So the smoke, maybe everything seems to be moving to the left, so maybe we draw the smoke kind of moving to the left as well. And maybe we take our eraser, remove some of these pixels. Maybe there's some new ones that start coming out of the chimney here. Okay. And what are we going to do with the grass? Let's go down to the grass layer. So each time I'm making sure that I go to the correct layer, so I'm not accidentally drawing these pixels on the wrong layer. Alright, so the grass layer, once again, I'm going to find that green we used. And maybe this time I add this little bit to the end of some of these other ones. And I could remove that from some of the ones that we did previously. Now I don't remember which those were, so I'm going to have to kind of guess here. It's not a very scientific way of doing this, but see how it works in the end. You can always tab through or use the arrow keys to see kind of what you've done so far. You can push spacebar as well. It's a very quick loop. Remember, you can adjust these times here. If things are going too quickly, you can adjust the time each frame is visible. Alright, so I'm going to copy that frame once again. I think I will continue to move these things. So let's move Cloud 2 a little bit more. Maybe at some point we have Cloud 2. Cloud 2 is going to disappear. So maybe on Cloud 2 we have another cloud appear somewhere over here and start to come in. Cloud 1, I'm going to move down a little bit. Let's kind of manipulate the smoke here a little bit. Go back to white. There's different things you could do here. Maybe I start to kind of reform or shape these clouds a little bit, which I haven't been doing. I've been moving them, but they've been staying pretty stagnant. So we could always, and you can always come back in and make changes to the previous frames you've manipulated as well. But let's say here I start to, let's go back to the Cloud 1. I start to draw in or erase parts of this, just subtly. Clouds move, they change. Whoop, something's not working here. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Always make sure you're on the right layer. Okay, so maybe the cloud moves up a little bit. Maybe the bottom moves a little bit. So now we've got, not only do we have the cloud moving to the left, we've got the cloud changing shape slightly. And I'm noticing I want to go back to my smoke here, because some of that smoke by the chimney itself is kind of remaining stagnant, so we want to maybe get rid of some of those. Okay, maybe we come back down to the grass and we select that color once again. Maybe our grass is, I don't know what the grass is doing. Is it shimmering, shaking a little bit in the wind? So maybe those little spokes go out the other side. So you're making subtle changes to each frame, to each layer, or whatever layers you have that are used to create movement. Now, so far I have created movement a little bit. So the clouds are moving, the smoke's moving, the grass is kind of swaying back and forth. Maybe I want to incorporate something else. So the next frame, let's copy it. First thing I'm going to do is make my changes to the movement. So I think that cloud is probably gone. Cloud 2 is gone for now. Cloud 1 is going to move down a little bit, and I am once again going to manipulate it slightly. Let's erase a little bit. Okay, smoke is going to, I'm changing my pixel size. The smoke is going to continue sort of fluttering this way. I'm going to erase a little bit of those initial pixels so that they're not sticking around for more than a couple of frames. So you'll notice that I left some of them on both. I think that's okay. Alright, and then lastly we've got the grass. Once again, fluttering around a little bit, as grass does. Does it? I don't know. Okay, and I'm going to remove some of these. Again, I did not pay attention to what I was drawing, what was already drawn, so hopefully some of those are different. Good enough. All right, but this time, maybe just maybe, the sky is beginning to grow to be a little darker. So I'm going to go and select my sky color. I'm going to go in here and maybe select a slightly darker shade of the same color. And I will just bucket that in. Now this is all in my background, so maybe the grass is, the sky is getting darker, maybe the sun's going down, the grass is starting to get a little darker too. Whoop. Let's try that again. Color picker, find the sky, darken it a bit. We can darken it gradually, so oh my goodness. Technical difficulties, we're on the grass layer. Alright, so I've darkened that. I'm going to select the background of the grass and I'm going to darken that a little bit. Hopefully I don't cause all those problems again. Okay, so I could do both sides. The house would probably begin to darken too. Here, let's leave that alone for now. Let's copy that frame. So now I'm changing, not only am I changing the movement of things, but I'm changing starting to change a little bit of the color. So the sun is setting. So let's say this time, before I get into the movement of the clouds, I'm going to darken the background again, just a bit. This is where your color palettes could come in handy. I'm going to darken the grass just a bit. We'll just paint bucket that in on each side. And then I'm going to make my changes to the clouds, or the moving objects. So cloud 1's still in play. Cloud 1's going to move left. Our smoke is going to continue moving this way. Maybe some more comes out here. And maybe we erase a little bit here. Maybe our grass is continuing to flutter. The grass is a little hard to see over the background color of the grass, so maybe that changes colors at some point. Alright, so things are starting to move, colors are changing, it's getting darker. I'll do one more frame. I hope you guys kind of get the idea here. Now remember, I do want this to loop. And I'm not doing a great job of showing that with this particular animation. This could loop. I could have those clouds maybe go back to where maybe cloud 2 becomes cloud 1 and sort of ends up in the same position, and then another cloud appears in the position of the other cloud, if that makes sense, so that it appears as if those clouds are just continuing to cycle through. Maybe it gets dark, maybe things get darker and darker, it's nighttime, and then maybe they lighten up again, so I could reverse things, go in kind of the opposite direction. I could take this, I think, in several directions now. Maybe the light in the house comes on once it gets dark, too dark. That's part of the background, so I could just paste that in. Let's see, did I move anything yet here? No, I did not. Alright, so I'm just going back and forth again. I'm on the wrong cloud, I'm moving things. I'm adding and removing parts of the chimney smoke. Step at a time. So remember, take your time with this. This is not something that you should be finished with necessarily in one sitting. It's going to take a little time, especially depending on what you are choosing to animate. I hope you challenge yourself a little bit here. So I'm going to go down to the grass. I'm going to change these. That color, I think, worked out pretty nicely here. It was darker than the grass. Now it's lighter than the grass. All right, we're going to erase a few of those little things. Okay. So we've got clouds moving. We've got the sky beginning to darken, the light turning on in the house. We could certainly have other things happen here. Maybe it rains at some point. You could always bring in a new layer. You know, if you wanted to introduce something, remember you can use this plus sign to add a layer. You can rearrange layers with these. You can rename layers, and I would definitely rename your layers. So that's definitely helped me to keep things straight here. Okay. You can delete them if you don't need them. You can duplicate them, and then you can merge them up and down with other layers. And just kind of as an overview here, we've got our GIF panel. We've got add frame, copy frame. I'd say most of the time you'll be using copy frame because you don't want to have to draw all of this every single time, especially if you have a pretty complicated background. Mine is not super complicated, but I wouldn't want to have to draw this house over and over again. So copy frame, we've got the preview button or spacebar. That's going to show you what you have done so far. And then you've got your frame speed, which you can set per individual frame. Or if you come over here to the right, you can update all of the frames to be the same speed. So if you wanted them all to be 50 milliseconds, if you wanted them all to be 250, so things moved slower, you could do that. 100's pretty good usually. Could be a little fast at times. And then remember you have a little toggle here to lock your frames so that they're always open. And I would probably enable that so that you can see everything all the time. All right, let's see. Let's do one more bonus frame. I'm going to copy the frame again. I'm going to go to the background first, select my sky, darken my sky a little bit more, and select my grass background, and darken that a little bit more. If I could push the right button, I would. Okay, I'm going to paint bucket that in here. I haven't darkened anything on the house yet. I probably should. Maybe I'll finish this later. Okay, cloud 1, I'm going to move over a little bit. Let's see, I could always look back to where I was in my clouds. I haven't been manipulating this cloud anymore. It's kind of stayed the same. It probably would look better to come back in here and edit these clouds as they go so that they're a little more visually interesting. You do a lot with clouds. The smoke and the clouds are starting to sort of mingle here. That's okay. I'm going to add a little more coming out here. You could do a lot with this. Maybe this goes up and starts to swirl out the other way. Let's see. Let's move and remove some of this. I think I probably drew too much here. This smoke is starting to move out of frame. Okay. And last but not least, we have our grass texture on the left-hand side here. Whoops. That I'm going to just sort of pencil in a little bit here. Now we could, what did we talk about? We talked about rain. We could add in rain. Maybe it gets dark, some stars come out and start twinkling. That could be another layer. So just some ideas. You can create layers as you go. You can manipulate the layers as you go. Stars twinkling could be nice. Alright, so we've got chimney smoke moving, clouds moving. I don't think we're quite at a good looping point yet. But remember, I want you to make this at least 25 frames. Mine's only 8 so far, but it's starting to come along. All right, I'm going to leave this at that for now. I'm going to stop here. Maybe I'll finish this and show you the end product later. If you have any questions, I hope this is helpful. If you have questions, let me know and send me messages. I will see you in class in the morning. Have a great rest of your day.